The Senator from Missouri.
Mr. President, last week the Senate adopted a resolution that I was proud to offer, honoring the distinguished service of Captain Samuel Farmer, United States Marine Corps, and the Marines and sailors of 1st Platoon, Company G, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marine Regiment. And I would like, if I might, to say a word or two about that resolution here this afternoon. Why the resolution, and who exactly are the Marines and sailors of 1st Platoon? Well, I'll tell you who they are. They were the individuals stationed at Abbey Gate on that fateful day in August of 2021, when the United States was in the midst of a major evacuation operation and a terrorist from the Islamic State came to Abbey Gate in Kabul, Afghanistan, and detonated a suicide vest that killed 13 soldiers, hundreds of civilians, including 9 members of this platoon. 9 of the 13 who were killed were from 1st Platoon, Company G, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marine Regiment. And who is Sam Farmer? Well, he was their commander. Sam is from the great state of Missouri. He's a graduate of Northwest Missouri State University. Upon his graduation, he was commissioned into the Marine Corps. He became an infantry officer. Upon completing his training, he took command of a rifle platoon there in Company G, known as a Ghost Company. His platoon was Ghost 1. And then in August of 2021, Sam and his platoon found themselves in Kabul, Afghanistan. Sam's platoon was charged with security there at Abbey Gate. And there are, I think, even now, 2 years removed from the disaster there, we don't fully appreciate the heroism of all of the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and others who were there that day, but particularly, if I might, of this platoon, of the men that Sam commanded. Something that most people don't know is that Sam's platoon went for almost 2 days without food and water. Now, why was that? Is it because there wasn't any available for them? No, that's not it. It's because this platoon, in the midst of this evacuation, this incredibly tense scene, gave up their own food and water for 2 days to the Afghan women and children who were waiting in the crowds hoping to be evacuated. That's the kind of men who were standing there on guard that day. That's the kind of man that Sam Farmer is. Of those 9 service members killed, 8 Marines, 1 Navy corpsman, another Missourian was among their ranks, someone who I've had occasion to come and talk about on this floor several times before, Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, also from Missouri. 9 were killed from that platoon. Many others were wounded, and that includes Sam Farmer himself, the platoon commander. But even with his wounds, even in the midst of this disaster as it unfolded, Sam continued to serve. His fellow platoon members continue to serve and to complete their mission. And I just want to make sure, Mr. President, that we honor them for what they did, that we honor them for securing the airport and facilitating the evacuation of American citizens, permanent residents, embassy workers, and special immigrant visa holders. Whatever you think of our withdrawal from Afghanistan, we should be able to honor the men and women who served so bravely, including Sam Farmer and the members of his platoon. You know, I've had the privilege to get to know Sam just a little bit. He grew up not too far from where I did in central Missouri. His parents, Chris and Ann, are school teachers at Fort Osage School District, which is in the Buckner area for those who know Missouri, just to the west of my hometown of Lexington, Missouri. Sam's got a younger brother, Jack. And if you meet Sam, what you'll find is he is self-effacing, doesn't like to talk about his own achievements, doesn't like really to talk about himself at all. What he likes to talk about is his service and the men and women he served with. What he likes to talk about is his honor of being a United States Marine. And to be honest with you, I don't know that he would particularly like me saying too much about him on the floor today, but I thought it was important to honor him because Sam just last month completed his service with the United States Marine Corps, and on the occasion of his separation, I offered this resolution, which details his service and the service of the members of his platoon. And, you know, I have to say, I think about those who have served who I know, and I think about particularly my own uncle, my Uncle Gene Hammer, who served in the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam. And I observed over the years of my Uncle Gene that he served before I was born, but, you know, he served, he came home, he won a number of medals, but when he came home, he put those medals away in a drawer and never talked about it ever after. He didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to talk about himself, didn't want to talk about what he did, didn't want to talk about those medals, didn't want to talk about any of it. And I can certainly understand and I certainly respect that. But I will just say that whether Sam feels that way or not, I bet one of these days Sam's children are going to want to know what he did for his country. And I bet his family is going to want to honor his service to his country. And frankly, his family and his future children deserve to know what he and the members of his platoon did for this country. And so I hope that this resolution that the Senate has passed and adopted honoring Sam and his platoon, I hope that maybe one day he'll be able to show that to his kids and say, well, here, you can read about what we did all those years ago. And his parents, Chris and Ann, will be able to hang that up and say, this is what my son did for our country, proudly serving this young man from Missouri who represents, frankly, the best of who we are and who we can be. And so, Mr. President, it's a privilege to get to honor Sam, to congratulate him on his service to our country, to the Marine Corps, to congratulate him on his service, his leadership of that platoon, not just on that fateful day, but for all of the days of which he was commander, and the leadership, the courage, the bravery that he has showed ever since. And so I'll just end with this. Let's take the opportunity to honor the sacrifice of those Marines and sailors. They truly embody the motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.